Singapore welcomes you to the FINA Swimming World Cup. It is round 3 of the 7 championship event that will complete itself in Doha in November. Singapore, though, is a regular stopping point, as is the OCBC Aquatic Centre for this event. Looking in tip-top shape is the Aquatic Centre ahead of what is the end of a long road trip for many of these international swimmers. It is a world-class venue, of course, first introduced for the SEA Games back in 2015 and has now become a regular stopping point for the various World Cups. And for the World Cup swimmers here, there are some of the biggest names in the world who are starting their countdown to Tokyo. Here's the events that we're going to take you through. There's 10 finals taking place tonight. This is the first of 3 days. Women's 400, men's 400, women's 50 and men's 50 backstroke, women's 200 fly, men's 100 butterfly, women's 200 breaststroke, men's 100 breaststroke, women's 50 and men's 50 freestyle. It seems like a very packed agenda. If you've watched this kind of Swimming World Cup, you know that things come at you very quickly indeed. The races come one after another and there are medal ceremonies interspersed in everything as well. It is all about championship standings and who will take home the main prize, and there are points on offer for each of the events that take place. And some of the biggest names in the world: Vladimir Morozov, a double champion of the World Cup, and Andrew Wilson and Mitch Larkin, as well as Danis Rapsis, are all here. And also alongside me, Des Corkill in the commentary box is a former Commonwealth Games and European Championship medalist and a World Cup winner, or a World Cup medalist in his own right. Chris Gilchrist is alongside me in the commentary box, and the swimmers are being introduced for race number 1. Chris, firstly, welcome along to this event. The tension is building, the atmosphere is building very nicely, and for the swimmers it's the last leg of a long journey.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Yeah, I mean, for quite a few of these swimmers, they raced at the World Championships in the middle of July as well, so for those guys, they really have been on the road for quite a while.
Big names to look out for, obviously. For the women's 400, the swimmers are going to be introduced, and Maddie Goff has got the quickest time. But just looking ahead of what we've got for us tonight, who are the names that you're looking out for, and the people back home should be really keeping an eye out in the 10 finals taking place tonight?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, the seasoned World Cup swimmers of Katinka Hosszu and Vlad Morozov are obviously crowd favourites. They come here every single year. They always put on a show. Somehow they manage to do world-class times every single time they get in the pool, which is incredible to watch. But there are some other swimmers as well. There's Rapsis in the 400 free, who won the 200 freestyle at World Championships but got disqualified. There's Emily Seebohm, who hasn't had the greatest year but has been on good form at the World Cup. So Kate Campbell from Australia is always a crowd favourite as well. There's some real stars in the field this evening.
What we're doing at the moment is we're just being introduced to the swimmers for the first event of the night, which is the women's 400 metres freestyle, and there's 4 Singaporeans on display here, 2 national swimmers, 2 club swimmers as well. Naomi Ong in lane 8 and Charmaine Lee in lane number 1. But the big stars, the likes of Erica Sullivan, Maddie Goff, Moshe Johnson and Cha Tong Go, they're the ones who we really want to keep an eye on when the racing starts.
Absolutely. Anyone who's had a chance to look at the results from the heats this morning will notice that those girls in the middle lanes were a good bit off their entry times, but they did what they had to do, and we will see a massive drop in the times that they posted this morning. So it's going to be a real dogfight to see who comes out on top this evening.
Maddie Goff was quickest of all qualifiers this morning, 4:17.28. Just to give you a reference point on that, the World Cup record is 4:04.26. That was sent in 2015 by Lauren Boyle. So there's an awful lot of work for these girls to do as we go through the names to look out for. Maddie Goff, obviously. Moshe Johnson, can you see either Sullivan or Go getting into either of the way of Maddie or Moshe?
I think Maddie's got to be the favourite going into this. She's got the fastest PB, her best time around the 4:07 mark, so not quite at the World Cup record level yet, but she should be a whole lot faster than she was in the heats for sure.
Lee Yu, Sullivan, Goff, Johnson, Go, Lai, Ong, and we are off the Swimmers must break before the 15-meter line, and everybody safely out there. Lane number 3 over on the far side. Erica Sullivan has made a decent start, so has Moshe Johnson. A steady old start from Maddie Goff. It's not a case of going out too quickly though in the women's 400. Interested to get your take just as they approach the first turn. Lane number 3, it is Erica Sullivan who will lead into the first turn.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, as a swimming coach, you're always telling your swimmers that it doesn't matter who's winning at the 50-meter mark on a 400, and I'm sure we'll see that as this race progresses. It's about who is executing that race plan the best.
Over on the far side, Sullivan still leads as we approach the midway point of the second length. She's actually got a half a body length ahead of Maddie Goff, who herself is a full body length of Moshe Johnson. When they turn, just tying up a little bit is Erica Sullivan at the second split, though it's still Sullivan in the lead.
She looks like she's taken it out pretty hard. I mean, 1 minute at the 100 mark is not sluggish at all, although you have to say that Maddie's looking perhaps a little bit more comfortable at this stage, but we'll obviously get a little bit of a better idea at the halfway mark. Malaysia's
Chia Tong is somehow hanging on there in lane number 6, but the front 4 are pulling away. Interestingly, Moshe Johnson has dropped backwards. Maddie Goff is keeping pace and may well turn just slightly ahead, but at the turn once again it is Sullivan by a touch ahead of Maddie Goff. 150 metres now complete.
Yeah, in terms of entry times, about 2 seconds separating the two swimmers at the front of the field, so it's not a surprise that they're close. Maddie Goff with a slightly faster personal best time, but Erica is having a fantastic swim so far. Interesting omission from the heats this morning was Katinka Hosu. We're accustomed to seeing her racing in multiple events per day, but she did choose to scratch this event this morning, where I'm assuming that that's a tactical decision rather than any kind of injury or illness, because she did perform very well in the butterfly event, which we'll see her racing in later on this evening, and that's obviously opened up the door a little bit for these two swimmers.
At the 200 mark, it was Maddie Goff who significantly had a better turn and has pushed off and has got herself nearly 3/4 of body length clear of Erica Sullivan, who is still hanging in there and is holding off Moshe Johnson. As they come up to the 250 mark, it is Maddie Goff by a full body length, and it's a lead split 2:27.41, a lead of 0.66 from Erica Sullivan.
Yeah, interestingly, Maddie actually just picking up her 50-meter split there on that 550 was faster than the 450, so she is obviously trying to negative split this race, which means taking the second 200 faster than the first 200, and you can see that with how the race is panning out. She's moving ahead of Erica Sullivan there and looks on the surface of things to have this race under control.
She is powering away. The world record split, as you can see, they're miles off world record pace. We didn't expect them to be on world record pace, but powering away is Maddie Goff, the Australian. Erica Sullivan, though, is hanging in there. It did look as though Goff was going to get away, but Sullivan looks to have a second bit of wind inside of her, and she's hanging in on their tails and will be on a podium. Is she good enough to actually take first place, though?
So by the looks of that 300 split, Maddie will be around about her entry time. She's turned in 3:37. It's normal for the swimmers to pick up the last 50 a little bit. They have that little bit of extra adrenaline, and also they're finishing to their hands rather than their feet, which reduces that last 50 split by about half a second. So she'll be looking to come in around about that 4:07, 4:08 mark, which I'm sure she'll be quite content with at this time of year.
Good strong turn off the wall, and she's been able to power away. She will come through. 4:07, 4:08 is the predicted finish. The finish time for Maddie Goff, who takes it 4:08.9. Goff ahead of Sullivan from the United States in second. Third, a long way down, is Australia's Johnson. As for the Southeast Asians, well, it looks like Malaysia's Chia Tong, Chia Tong, is going to pick up fourth. Not quite good enough for the podium, but a little bit of local pride won with the SEA Games very much top of thoughts.
Yeah, very strong race from Maddie there. Interestingly, with the Singaporean swimmers just finishing off now, we had a little chat off air just before this about the merits of the World Cup competitions really offering that opportunity to the local swimmers, wherever that may be, to race against the best swimmers in the world, which is not an opportunity that you get very often, to be honest.
Maddie Goff winner of the women's 400 meter freestyle final, time of 4:08.09, which was pretty much with a 0.09 to where you expected it to be. It was around about the 200 mark. She wasn't leading. It was Erica Sullivan who led through the first 150, but at the 200 mark, Maddie turned in front and pushed hard off the wall and was never really going to be beaten after that.
No, I'm sure she'll be happy with that swim. It's only 0.1 outside of her entry time. Obviously, for most of these swimmers coming off the back of either World Championships or National Championships, or at the very start of their Olympic preparations, getting close to your personal best times at this stage will be pleasing for most of the swimmers here.
Confirmation of the final results. Maddie Goff 4:08.09, Erica Sullivan from the United States, and Moshe Johnson on the podium. Gotia Tong from Malaysia winning that little Southeast Asian battle. Chantal Liu, Genevieve Lai, Naomi Ong and Charmaine Lee completing the top 8. Let's go down to hear from the race winner.
Congratulations, gold medal. Nice to have you here to start your weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really good. I love being here.
I mean, with that race, you sort of was second at the 100 metres, and then those burners started to come out after the 200. Was that always the strategy sort of heading in?
Yeah, I was trying to do that. The last few races I've gone out a bit hard, so I was just trying to build it, yeah.
And I mean, you racing next to Erica, it was sort of, it was really neck and neck the whole way through that. Does that change your strategy mid-race, or do you stick to a race plan for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's hard to not get involved in the race and just try to stick with that.
You had fun though?
Yeah, it was good, yeah.
Well, brilliant to watch. Look, congratulations on the gold. Ladies and gentlemen, would you give it up for Australia's Maddie Goff?
John Mason with the interviews. We'll be hearing regularly from John throughout. He'll be getting in touch with the race winners and a little bit of local interest as well. If we do get Singaporeans on the podium, we'll be talking to the Singaporean swimmers as well, particularly with the SEA Games very, very much in mind. As for the men's 400 metres freestyle, that is up next. Henning Mulleitner and Danis Rapsis. Looking forward to seeing Danis Rapsis in action. Chris Gilchrist, a former Olympian, alongside me in the commentary box today, and Rapsis is the man who focuses all attention in this men's 400.
Yeah, again, another swimmer who didn't have to work particularly hard in the heats this morning, but you only have to look at his best time and the way that he performed in the first 2 rounds of the World Cup to know that he is on form. He actually won the World Championships, as I said before, in the 200 freestyle, and then was disqualified for a twitch at the start. So this guy is really on an upward trajectory, and I'm really excited to see what he can dish out in this 400 freestyle this evening.
3 Singaporeans have qualified for this final. Mohammed Asnan Azri, Erasmus Ang, Mike Aidney, and also Chinese Taipei's Hobo Yu, who's just being introduced to the crowd. As usual, though, we'll look at the big 4. And Luke Mitchell is doing well in the World Cup standings. He'll be representing New Zealand in lane 6. And is Mitchell an outside chance of a podium here?
I would say so. Anyone in lanes 3, 4, 5, 6 have got a pretty good chance of finishing top 3. We can't look past Rapsis for the gold medal here, I think.
Ben Roberts will be in lane 3, qualified in a time of 4:02.83. And then the man we've been talking about, a confident swagger, it must be said, from Danis Rapsis. When you're that good, you can afford to have a swagger. Just outside 4 minutes his qualifying time. Fastest in qualifying though was Germany's Henning Mulleitner. What can we expect from him? Big, tall, strong fella.
A bit of an unknown, to be honest. I mean, even though qualifying first for this final, we can expect the gold medal winning time to be a good 10 to 15 seconds faster than what the guys were posting in the heats this morning. So as opposed to the spearhead formation that you might normally expect in a final, where you've got lane 4 the fastest, followed by 5, 3, 6, etc. We could see this race going a little bit all over the place, with Rapsis, no doubt in my mind, leading for probably the whole race, and then those minor spoils really up for grabs. So it'll be really interesting to see if any of the guys who are maybe not quite at the very top level of the world swimming yet can sneak onto the podium there. That's
more like that in focus. Danis Rapsis is actually the World Cup record holder. It was a time of 3:43.91 that he set in that last round in Jinan. Lane number 5, look out for him. We are underway. Rapsis, good quick reaction time and immediately into the lead, a full half body length ahead of the German Mollleitner, and that's an explosive start from Danis Raptis. You gave him the big hype, and he's lived up to it immediately from the off.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is going to be how much the other swimmers try and stick with him. His entry time is obviously significantly faster, but that's a really good opportunity for the other swimmers around about him in lanes 4 and 6 to ride his wave a little bit, maybe get a little bit of extra motivation racing against someone who's arguably the fastest middle distance freestyler in the world at the moment. And then you've got Rapsis as well, who, you know, arguably doesn't have as much of a race here from his competitors as he would do at the World Championships. Clearly didn't faze him at the previous World Cup competition, where he was posting best times, national records, even them being 1 month after the World Championships. So he's on fantastic form, and he's obviously pulling the German in the lane next to him along to probably a really fast time as well.
Good first 100 from Erasmus Ang as well. He's best of the rest. Currently in 4th place is Erasmus in lane number 7, but leading the way quite significantly as we approach 150 of full body length. He will turn in 1:23.81, 1.38 seconds outside the world record, but again he's just beginning to power away, and it's a big, strong athlete, the Lithuanian.
He really is. I mean, he's still splitting underneath 29 seconds per 50. If he can hold that and he's splitting around about 57, 58 seconds per 100, he's going to be on for a fantastic time.
Ben Roberts in lane number 3 is doing his best to hold on to the German Mollleitner, but it's Rapsis who will turn. Good strong push up the wall. The lead between Raptis in first and Mollleitner has grown to 2.14 seconds, 3.73 ahead of him. Still, Erasmus Ang is having a good swim for Singapore. He's still in P4.
Absolutely, the race really spreading out now. Those 3 swimmers really far ahead, and then there's a real race going on for 4th, 5th, etc. With quite a few of those Singaporean swimmers in there. They'll be delighted if they can get into the top 4 or 5 in this race.
New Zealand's Luke Mitchell is struggling just a little bit in lane number 6. But Rapsis, they're beyond halfway. They're into the final 150, 125 to go. Rapsis, the lead now is a good 2 meters clear. And Ben Roberts in lane number 3 is starting just to make a little bit of ground up on Henning Mollleitner. So position number 1 looks to be certain for Rapsis, but P2 very much up for grabs, Chris.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Roberts is he has a very smooth stroke. He still looks comfortable, but he definitely pulled back a little bit on that 50. A really nice turn as well. If he can pick it up on this second last 50 to get within a second and a half of second place, then he's got a real chance of picking up that silver medal.
Still leading the way though is Danis Raptis from Lithuania, the current World Cup holder. He's extended his lead rather than being clawed back by Mollleitner. He's extended his lead, and Roberts has indeed closed just to a little bit. So Raptis turns. The lead ahead for Raptis is a significant one. Roberts turns in 3rd place though. Our focus though is on Danis Raptis, the Lithuanian. The real battle is going on behind him, but he's powering home to the line. Talk him home, please, Chris.
It's a really interesting race actually. He really slowed down in that the second and third 100. He's absolutely smashed the last 100. You would have to assume that was his plan. It's still a really fast time, not quite as fast as he went in the previous World Cup meet. But he really smashed that last 100. Mollleitner just managing to hold on for second ahead of Roberts. I'm sure those guys will be happy to drop into the low 350s there.
Erasmus Ang is looking to hold on for 4th, and he does. The Singaporean wins his own little personal battle there. That's a good time for Erasmus Ang at 4:13.93. But it's Rapsis who wins it in emphatic style. You gave him the big build-up, and he certainly lived up to it as well. In the build-up to an Olympic year, is this a genuine Olympic prospect?
100%. With the exception of that movement on the block, which resulted in his disqualification in the 200 freestyle at the World Championships just a month ago. He was arguably the man to beat after the middle distance freestyle. Along with the Chinese swimmer Sun Yang, those guys are real favourites going into the Olympics next year. And to be on an upward trajectory a year out from the Olympics is obviously, there's no better place to be. Really nice for the Singaporean swimmer Erasmus to finish in 4th place there, dropping 5 seconds from his heat time, so he'll be delighted with that as well.
I think we can go down and hear from the race winner Danis Rapsis ahead of Moleitner Roberts in 3rd place, Erasmus Ang, the best of the rest from Singapore.
Danis.
This Sunday, catch Jasmine Sokko, Aisha Aziz, Kit Chan, Dick Lee, and many more in a 2-part special of the Gardens by the Bay and MediaCorp National Day concert. Sunday, 18th August at 7:30 p.m. on 5. Also available on Toggle.
Kevin Tech Air, a new pain relief plaster from Korea. Relief backache, joint pain, muscle ache, and inflammation. It comes with 8 patches to drive your pain away effectively. Kevin Tech Air's airflow system enhances breathability and reduces skin irritation, keeping you comfortable as you heal. Available at all major retail stores.
Breeze 超强有力清除污渍，比普通的洗衣液更有效哦。你看 ，Breeze 把污渍去除得干干净净，有了它，吃什么都不怕。限期促销，现在购买 Breeze 洗衣液可以半价享有第2瓶。
We are at the FINA Swimming World Cup event, round 3 taking place here in Singapore, round 3 of 7 that will end in Qatar midway through November. It's been a long route for some of the best swimmers in the world, and just before we witnessed a near record-breaking time from Danis Rapsis, the Lithuanian, who in an interview said that he was disappointed that he wasn't able to break his own World Cup record. Very quickly though, our focus moves on to event number 3, the women's 50-metre backstroke. Chen Chizu from Chinese Taipei and Jamie Koo are the first 2 swimmers out. Chance to reintroduce Chris Gilchrist, a former Commonwealth Games medalist, alongside me in the commentary box. And Chris, we've seen 2 400-metre, very strong, long races. Now we're going to see the real contest of FINA swimming into the 50-metre backstroke.
Yes, very much a splash and dash. We'll see all these girls no doubt getting very close to 15 metres on their start, and then some super high stroke rates as they're trying to get some serious speed. Emily Seebohm, a real star of the Singapore World Cup series in the past. She's a real favourite with the local swimmers here. She does swim clinics every year, so all the swimmers love seeing her. Not had maybe the most successful year by her own standards, but has been on good form in the World Cup so far.
Emily Seebohm is the current leader of the World Cup standings. We're looking forward to seeing her. She will be in lane number 4. Stephanie Au from Hong Kong will also be looking to make some kind of an impact. Qualified in 28.99. But here is Emily Seebohm, 27 years of age now, close to the time of 28.72. Holly Barrett will be her main competitor, as will Michelle Coleman, but the splash and dash, you call it, the start, absolutely critical.
Absolutely. I mean, Holly Barrett actually with the fastest entry time, Emily Seebohm arguably the better known backstroker in Australia, and Michelle Coleman just the all-out sprinter from Sweden.
Here they are, Seebohm in lane 4, Barrett 5, Michelle Coleman from Sweden in lane 6 for Singapore. A couple of swimmers, Elena Pedersen and Jamie Koo. A couple of Hong Kong swimmers in Wong and Stephanie Au. It is a splash and dash, 1 length of the pool. And starting at the other end to most of the events. Reaction times are what we're looking out for, and the 15-metre mark as well. 50-metre backstroke, a high dive from Emily Seebohm, and breaking first is Seebohm, although she hasn't got things all her own way, because Holly Barrett also made a good start, but Seebohm looks like she's recovered.
Yeah, very strong start from Barrett there. She's still holding in lead. Seebohm with a slightly slower stroke rate, but obviously catching a bit more water coming through. It looks like Holly Barrett actually might be holding on.
Holly Barrett is looking like she's going to touch first, and there is a bit of an upset. It is Barrett from Stephanie Au, and Seebohm has to look out for only 3rd place. Stephanie Au, terrific swim from the Hong Kong woman in lane number 3, and a real upset here in Singapore. Emily Seebohm has to be content with 3rd.
She has great swim from Holly Barrett there. She'll be very happy to get under 28 seconds. It's a little bit of a barrier for most of these female backstrokers. Also a great result from the Hong Kong swimmer Au there. The Hong Kong swimmers, at one stage yesterday it wasn't clear whether or not they were going to make it here, obviously with the disruption to travel, so probably not had the greatest preparation for the meet, but it's obviously putting a really strong 28.16 there, which she'll be delighted with, no doubt, as well.
Holly Barrett will pick up 12 points available for each of the victories that you post in these FINA Swimming World Cup events. And there is a slightly surprising result. Barrett wins it. Stephanie Au, congratulations to her. Seaborn in third. Michelle Coleman having to last in fourth place. And I think we can hear pretty quickly from the race winner, Holly Barrett.
Well, Holly, over so quick, but you took the gold. How did that feel for you?
It felt good. My backstroke's been getting a little bit faster over each meet that we've done, so I'm happy to go a little bit faster again.
And competing at events like this, World Cup Series, it's constant competition, completely different to training. Does it help you improve like this on your skills and stuff?
Definitely. You know, you can do all the race skills in training that you want, but nothing replicates it like a race, so it's great. Yeah.
Brilliant. And in there with some very fast girls as well, so always nice to get in the water with the best in the world.
That's right, I love racing all these guys, and yeah, it's fun.
We love it. Look, it was brilliant to see you get that gold. Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Holly Barrett.
Terrific result for Holly Barrett. A rather breathless Holly Barrett as well. 50 metres, but it's a dash and a sprint.
It is, and it always seems a bit harsh that those swimmers are getting interviewed straight after the race. Arguably not at their best in terms of being on television, but obviously they're delighted to share their experience with the audience.
The demands of television indeed. Men's 200 metre backstroke is rapidly coming up on us at the FINA Swimming World Cup here at the OCBC Aquatic Centre in downtown Singapore. Fabulous world-class venue, welcoming, as you say. We're delighted to get the Hong Kong swimmers here as well. For the men, this is Feng Chun-ho.
Mitch Larkin in lane 4, obviously the superstar in this event.
Lane 7, representing New Zealand,
He's been world champion in the 100 and 200 backstroke in the past. Again, maybe didn't have the most successful World Championships by his own standards this year, but a force to be reckoned with in world swimming. He's actually been possibly even stronger than 200 medley this year. Seems to have put a little bit of more of a focus on that recently, but still a truly excellent 200 metre backstroker with an entry time of 1 minute 55. Has been faster than that in the past, but if he gets anywhere near that, I don't see anyone getting wildly close to him, although there will be another couple of guys who are trying to get underneath that magic 2 minute barrier.
Mitch Larkin is indeed the World Cup record holder, 153.17. That was set in Dubai as long ago as 2015. So he's been competing at this event at a very, very top level. Jordan Merrilees is one of 4 Australians, and there is the man we've been talking about, Mitch Larkin. Qualification time of 2 minutes point 053, and that was a full, well, 1 second faster than Jordan Merrilees. Larkin, lane 4, is the man to look out for the Singaporean interest. Gabriel Koo and Malcolm Lowe are lanes 1 and 2. Again, always bear in mind the SEA Games are looming very, very large for the Southeast Asian swimmers, so they will be looking just to improve their own personal times even if they don't get onto the podium.
Absolutely, it's worth noting that a lot of the swimmers here are in a very different place in their preparations. Some coming off the back of the World Championships, some starting their Olympic season, so lots of different things going on.
From the top, Koo from Singapore, Malcolm Lowe, Tristan Holland, Mitch Larkin, Jordan Merrilees, Thomas Fraser-Holmes, Wilrick Kurtze from New Zealand, and Feng Chun-ho from Hong Kong are the 8 starters in this men's 200 metre backstroke. up in lane number 3. It's Tristan Holland who's made arguably the best start, but quickly overtaken by Mitch Larkin, who was very, very quickly into his stroke. The underwater kick important in the backstroke, particularly at the start.
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably everyone in this final, their underwater kick will be faster than their surface swimming, so they'll be using that to their advantage as much as possible. You saw from the start, the majority of them going the full 15. You usually see them dropping to about 10 metres as the race progresses, and they're trying to conserve a little bit of that oxygen.
It's Larkin in lane 4, though, as you suggested. He is leading. Tristan Hollard has managed to stay alongside him. Good start it was by Hollard in the green cap. He will be in second place as Larkin will turn. The lead was 0.43 of a second at the end of the first length. It's increased now to 0.68, and Merrilees makes it an Aussie 1-2-3 with Thomas Fraser Holmes making it a 1-2-3-4.
Absolutely, 56 for Mitch Larkin at the 100 mark there. That's pretty strong, especially popping in a 29 point on the second 50. If he can try and get another 29 on this third 50, he'll be in for a fast time. If he can get 155 or faster, I'm sure at this time of year he'll be pretty content with that.
Good kick off the wall. The lead is more than a body length away from Jason Hollard, who is managing to keep up with him, and at the same time is holding off Jordan Merrilees in third place. But it is Larkin, as expected, who is leading the way. Good clean stroke.
Looks like it's probably going to be around the 156 mark. We'll see if the other two Australian guys can nip under that 2 minutes. Looks like Hollard will. 156.6 from Larkin there. 158. Oh, and the third swimmer gets under that 2 minute barrier as well.
So solid performances from Larkin, Hollard and Merrilees. Australia 1-2-3. For the lesser places, Gabriel Koo and Malcolm Lowe have their own little battle of Singapore. And there was fifth Gabriel Koo and sixth Malcolm Lowe. But there is the race winner. And he made it look pretty easy right from the start. He didn't have the quickest start, but by the first 50 he got himself in the lead, and once again never looked in any danger, Mitch Larkin.
He didn't, and you know, he looked like he took it out with some intent. 26 on the 27.2 on the first 50, that's pretty normal, and then holding 29s for the next 350s. Obviously when it is absolute peak performance, it'll be a couple of 28s in there, but that's it's a pretty solid swim. We had another little chat off air beforehand about the difference between the World Cup being in the short course and long course format. The short course format obviously being in the 25 metre pool. The full World Cup circuit this year is in the 50 metre pool, which does create its own challenges.
Mitch, congratulations, another goal for you. That's the triple here. All within half a second of each other across each cluster. How are you maintaining this?
Yeah, it's good. I'm a pretty consistent swimmer usually throughout the season, so pretty happy with that. And you know, it's good being consistent. Sometimes it's a little bit consistently slow, but I'm pretty happy with that. To finish off with a 156, pretty good. And thanks to everyone here tonight. It's awesome.
And I mean, you've got some other boys in there that are fast, that are sort of maybe upset some of your other races. Do you think about that heading in?
Yeah, a little bit. We had a couple of Aussies come over here for just this meet, so that's always an added challenge. They're a little bit more fresher than probably some of us, but it's always nice. It keeps the racing interesting, and it's funny, you know, we travel up to Asia and it's basically an Australian final here tonight, but it's unreal.
It was brilliant to watch. Anyway, look, congratulations, well done. The triple, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mitchell Larkin.
Maximum points for Mitch Larkin over the 3 events in Tokyo, then in Jinan, and now here in Singapore. He mentioned the fact that several swimmers have come up just for this meet, and talking about freshness. As a former athlete yourself, Chris, how does that really impact you?
It's huge, and going back to what I was talking about, the long course, the 50 metre pool, it's even more important there. You can kind of, to use the word fake is maybe not fair to the swimmers, because there's nothing fake about the level of commitment these guys have, but you don't necessarily need to be in your absolute tip-top shape to perform well in the 25 metre pool. With the skills, the start, the turns being so much more important, that can get you through to a fast time. But there is no denying that in a 50 metre format, you have to be at your best to perform well. And as Mitchell said there, he's coming off the back of a really heavy racing schedule. Some of the guys he was racing there are quite fresh. Some of the guys here are just starting their season and maybe just come off the back of 1 month of no training. So it is a very challenging competition, and if these guys can get anywhere near to their best times, they'll be very happy with that at this stage.
Our focus turns onto the women's 200-meter butterfly, and one of the world superstars, Katinka Hotsu, is part of the starting lineup here. The Hungarian will be racing in lane number 4, a 2-time former World Cup champion. Laura Taylor will try to provide some quality opposition, as will Ka Jing Yuen from Singapore. But Jacobos and Hotsu, they are the two genuine stars of this particular race, the women's 200 fly.
They certainly are. We spoke a little bit earlier about Hotsu scratching that 400 freestyle. Not really sure what the reasons for that were, other than assuming that she wants to put everything into this 200 butterfly. We've touched a little bit about the points that are on offer. 12 points to win for each event here, and each swimmer, their best 3-point scoring races at each meet will be added together to give them a point score for the competition. That is then added to the top individual performance from the competition. They get up to 24 points up for grab for the best individual performance. So if someone wins 3 races and has the best overall performance, they can have up to 60 points available at each meet. Those points are then added together, and that's where the money comes from at the end of the meet. Hotsu, obviously the World Cup veteran. She's won the circuit on multiple occasions. She's almost made her living doing the World Cup circuit.
And she's the woman to look out for in lane number 4, alongside Singapore's own Ka Jing Yuen. Good qualification time, 2:12.03, but Hotsu and Jacobos and Taylor, 4:56, the ones to look for. Good clean reaction time right from the very start, and you can see that Katinka Hotsu, in the incredibly demanding butterfly, has made a solid start and has got herself half a body length away, although over in lane number 2, Zhang Yufei has also made a very solid start. But over in lane number 2, in fact, it'll be Yufei who will turn first ahead of Hotsu.
Yeah, probably a little bit of a surprise there. You would expect Hotsu to be leading at the 50-meter mark. She's known for taking races out pretty hard. She's certainly not scared of pain. She's made her brand on the fact of being made of iron.
She's still just in second place now and is under intense pressure. Good swim also from Ka Jing Yuen, but Jacobos has made a move through as well. Indeed, Jacobos in lane number 5 it will be, who will lead ahead of Hotsu as they turn. Lane number 2, Zhang has dropped down to P3, but at the halfway mark, it's Hotsu just by a tip ahead of Jacobos. And now this is where maybe we'll see the Hungarian power away. There she is in lane 4, showing her full style.
She's really demonstrating her grit there. I mean, she's clearly a hard trainer. She's a very, very tough racer. 200 butterfly, arguably one of the most challenging, physically demanding races. But Jacobos is a superb butterfly. I mean, in terms of pure technician, it's an absolute joy to watch. She's been around for well over a decade in this event and has actually turned first at the 150-meter mark.
Jacobos leads. There could be another upset on the cards here. Hotsu has got to react. She has done. Good kick off the wall, but Jacobos is holding on. Perhaps a little bit choppier in her style. Look at Hotsu though, powering through in this final 50 meters. Hotsu, the championship leader, has left it late. Jacobos tries just to put on an extra bit of a surge, but Hotsu who increases the momentum. Hotsu will get a touch just first, but Jacobos pushes her all the way.
Yeah, very close there. You can see Jacobos was really, I'm sure, pleased to show everyone in the audience just how much grit and determination she's got. As I said, she's known for her toughness, both mental and physical, and she really showed it on that last 50 there to come past Jacobos, who is really a fantastic butterfly swimmer.
Well, have a look at this, because for the first 150, the Queen, Katinka Hotsu, was really in trouble. Susanna Jacobos led through 150. Great swim also by Ka Jing Yuen from Singapore. We might get to hear from her but it needed a last 50 spurt from Katinka Hosu to keep her unbeaten record intact. There is the official result, 207.07. Jakobos second, 0.031 down. And Kwa Jingwen, fabulous swim from the Singaporean to Pip Laura Taylor and Zhang Yufei, who had led after the first 50 metres.
Yeah, that's a great swim from the Singaporean swimmer. Getting very close to that 210 barrier.
And I think we can go down and speak to a breathless Katinka Hosu.
Wow, I tell you what, Katinka, what a battle that was. Did you have fun out there?
Yeah, really fun.
I mean, you went out your first 100 faster than any other cluster on the World Cup circuit. Your third 50 was slower, and then you came back faster. I mean, was the battle going on in your mind in the pool?
I think you're watching so much of my swing, you're becoming my coach now.
Basically, yeah. Me and my producer.
Yeah, thanks for the info.
But I mean, was that the plan, or could you just feel Susanna there and knew you had to get to the wall?
Yeah, for me, it's racing. So I get out there and I trust myself, and I know I can race at the end. So that's what I did today.
Well, I tell you what, you gave us the thrill. It was brilliant. Congratulations. Another gold medal. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Katinka Hosu.
Great comment there from Katinka Hosu. It is racing. We keep talking about split times and hitting your marks, but when she had to race, my word, she showed a competitive spirit.
And there's no one better at it. I know in years gone by, people have perhaps questioned her racing schedule, especially in Olympic years, wondering if it was maybe too much, but she proved everyone wrong by winning gold medals in Rio, and she's looking good to win again in Tokyo. So I don't suppose you can argue too much with her strategy.
Certainly can't. Straight on to event number 6, the men's 100-metre butterfly, 2 lengths of the track. Ulrich Kurte from New Zealand introduced the first of the Thai competitors, Nabapat Wongcharoen, qualified in 54.5. For Belarus, you've got Yayan Turkin. Chanji from Malaysia will be there, but we're going to be introduced in just a little while to Sebastian Jabo, another really quick of the Hungarians, fastest qualifier, 52.59. Talk to me a little bit about Sebastian Jabo.
Yeah, it's interesting, this race, because this is perhaps one of the races that doesn't have a true superstar in it, but you can see from the countries that are represented here, you got Irvin from Australia, Smith from the USA and Jabo from Hungary. These are 3 of the countries who have superstars in this event, so actually for these guys to make their Olympic team next year, they need to make a drop. You know, they're around about the 52-second mark. If they want to make the Olympic team for their countries, they need to be dropping 1 to 1.5 seconds minimum.
There is Jabo. The world record is set by Caleb Dressel in Guangzhou, just in the World Championships, 49.5. The World Cup record was set in 2015 by Chadwick Kloss, a time of 51.04. Are we likely to get close to that kind of championship record?
Well, based on the heat swim from Giles this morning, going 52.01, I'll be honest, was a lot faster than I was expecting from a heat swim this morning. He must have been very content with that. He'll be looking to get well into the 51s. I'd be very surprised if we got under 51, but like I said, if these guys want to be in the mix to make their, never mind being competitive at the Olympics, to make the Olympics because of the countries they come from, they're going to need to be getting down to those 51 zeros, 50 points. And this is just the first stepping stone.
Indeed it is. We're building up to the Olympic year, but it's all part of a World Cup schedule as well. This is round 3 of 7. All the athletes have been in Tokyo, moved on to Jinan, now here in Singapore. This is the men's 100-metre butterfly. Jabo lane 5, Smith lane 4, Nick Brown lane 6. The men to watch. It's a good reaction time in lane number 5 from Sebastian Jabo. And Jabo leads Smith in lane number 3. Grant Irvin also made a decent start, as here in lane number 7 as well, Yuran Sirkin. And Sirkin may well be the man who is challenging as we come through at the first turn, but it was Jabo who will lead.
Yeah, really strong start. Quite far ahead at 25, considering how close the field are in terms of entry times. Turning in 23, I mean, that's more than fast enough to be getting down to those 51 lows. We'll see how he can hold on in the second 50.
Jarbo holding on. Grant Irvin just got himself ahead of Giles Smith, but it's Jarbo who is leading, although Irvin is making a real play for him. But Jarbo will power in, and the winning time for Sebastian Jarbo is 51.26. Irvin has got there first, ahead of Jarbo, and Smith in third place. Irvin with a dramatic final 3. Wow, what a performance from Irvin. Where did he produce that from?
Absolutely, you could see him fist pumping the water at the end, because he knows that's taken him one step closer to getting to the kind of times that he needs to be doing at the Australian trials next year.
And he has left this down to the final 15 metres here, because as they turn, Jarbo is there, but just look at Irvin on the left of your screen, gets the touch in ahead of Sebastian Jarbo. Jarbo can't believe it, but Grant Irvin is absolutely delirious.
Absolutely. We spoke a little bit about Jarbo. I mean, we saw from the women's 200 butterfly, Hungary are incredibly strong at the butterfly events, and in the men's butterfly is no different. So it's very, very competitive to make the Olympic team.
Irvin was 4th fastest at the turn. A dramatic final 10 metres has produced an astonishing win for the Australian. And I think we're going to be hearing from him, and no doubt he'll be breathless because he had to put in terrific amount of work.
He did, with such a fast second 50.
Grant, congratulations. Got you here for an interview. It was good. I mean, 1 and 2 for you and Sebastian in Jinan. Now the reverse. You've got to be good to be on top of the podium.
Yeah, it's good to finally get one. That was had 2 seconds coming to this, so it's good to finally get the first.
And I mean, you went into that, you turned third, and then got your fastest time in the cluster. Was that sort of the plan going back in, strong back end?
Yeah, it was kind of my plan to work down to like the Singapore being the third cluster, and yeah, just come over the top of them. That's where I'm going to come over them.
Well, look, mate, it was brilliant to watch. Congratulations. Lots of Aussies in here loved it as well. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Grant Irvine.
Thanks, guys.
Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong will be delivering his National Day rally speech at the Institute of Technical Education this Sunday. The speech will be telecast live at 6:45 p.m. Mr. Lee will be speaking in Malay, then in Mandarin. He will proceed to deliver his English speech at 8:15 p.m. You can also watch the rally online. Hear the coverage live on CNA 938.
Whatever you want, whenever you want it. 6,000 restaurants delivered right to your door. Food Panda. Order food you love.
Muscle aches and pains? Get Tiger Balm plasters. Made with unique herbal formulation. Only Tiger Balm offers warm, soothing relief with real raw power.
The OCB Aquatic Centre filling up nicely. First of 3 nights worth of entertainment. We've seen already 1 or 2 shocks. Emily Seaborn, very much a favourite, knocked down into 3rd place. But Katinka Hosu, she had to work particularly hard. She probably put in the performance of the night so far, Katinka Hosu. Not so much in times, but in terms of competitive spirit when she came from behind to win the women's 200-metre butterfly.
Absolutely, that's why the crowd love her so much, because she's just so motivational for the younger swimmers who get the opportunity to watch her. Just showing what that grit and determination in training and racing can achieve. Arguably not as beautiful a technician as Jacobos, but just that, you know, that real drive that she showed on that last 50, gets the win, gets the 12 points, which is so important for her in this cluster, because at the moment she is lying 2 points behind Kate Campbell, who we'll see later on in the 50 freestyle.
We certainly will. There's just a little bit of a break because the medal ceremonies for the first 5 races will take place just for now, so it gives us a chance just to look back and remember the first races that we've had. And Maddie Goff got us underway in the women's 400-metre freestyle. The Australian, a convincing victor, Maddie Goff over Erica Sullivan, although Sullivan went out pretty hard for the first 3 lengths, and then Maddie Goff powered home in the second 200.
She did. She spoke about it in her interview. It's what we saw with the splits. She was obviously trying to negative split it. She came back really strong in the second 200. We saw that again there in that race in the 100 butterfly for men. If you've got a strong second half, you've got a pretty good chance of winning the race or getting on the podium.
Then we move through to the women's 400 metre freestyle. We will be getting the medal ceremony for all of the races in just a moment. And Danis Rapsis, you gave him the big rap beforehand, and Danis Rapsis certainly lived up to that. He powered his way to what was a relatively comfortable victory. In fact, he wasn't out of breath in his post-race interview with John Marsh in the men's 400 freestyle.
No, he seemed a little bit disappointed with his time, and I suppose that's understandable. He was obviously trying a slightly different pacing strategy. He alluded to that. We could see that from the times. He was a little bit slow by his own standards on that middle 200 metres. He even split a 29 point in there, which for him is a little bit on the sluggish side. He absolutely romped it home on the last 100, but as a result was just a couple of seconds off his previous World Cup time.
Chris Gilchrist is a coach, swimming coach here, and former Commonwealth Games, European and World Cup swimmer, medalist indeed. Talk to me about split times. Most people's eyes glaze over when swimming coaches talk split times. You love them because they're such a vital ingredient of your day-to-day work and a swimmer's improvement.
They are. They're so quantifiable. I mean, it's what makes a coach's job easy. We can talk about the art of coaching, you know, the eye for technique. You know, you can add some biomechanics to that with getting the underwater footage, the above water footage, but the split times are just there. They're easy. They give you some instantaneous feedback, and it's what coaches like to go to give that feedback to a swimmer straight away.
When you go into the splash and dash, into the sprints in the 50 metre, you don't have split times to work on, or do you have 25s that you work on? Do you have the kick-off time? What the splits that you work on the shorter sprint races?
You'll have a 15 metre and a 25 metre split. If the coach is doing it by their watch, it'll be accurate to within a couple of tenths of a second. Obviously, once the swimmers are reaching a more elite level, they'll have biomechanists with a video camera up in the stands. They'll be doing some analysis after the heats, giving them that feedback, so they'll see their exact splits, their stroke rates, which is how fast their arms are moving, their distance per stroke, splits for each 5 metre segment, so they can see how fast their finish is. They'll see what distance their breakout was, and if there's anything that needs adjusted for the finals, they've got that to do.
Fascinating backdrop from Chris Gilchrist. We'll hear more from Chris. The parade of medalists is coming on now, the 3-2-1 on each of the events.
They even make this Fast and Furious, the Parade of Champions. I think it goes down quite well with the audience, because as much as an athlete likes to stand on the podium watching their flag and their national anthem, it can drag on a little bit, can't it? So they try and make it Fast and Furious here. They get all the champions out at the same time. They still get their time in front of the crowd. The crowd get to give them their round of applause, but it moves a bit quickly. We can get back to the action.
Maddie Goff, winner of the first event, the women's 400 metre freestyle. After him, Danis Rapsis, winner of the men's 400 metre freestyle. The women's 50 metre backstroke dash. Terrific result there for Holly Barrett. That was possibly the upside as the Australia upset her more fancied favourite Emily Seaborn. On to the men's 200 backstroke, and Mitch Larkin continued his near perfect season. And a medal also for Kwa Jing Wen for Singapore in bronze.
We'll see her sister up later on in the 50 freestyle, so put a bit of pressure on her there.
These are all the bronze medalists. And to see Emily Seaborn in the bronze medalist tour, she didn't expect that. Did you expect that?
Well, I mean, it was a very close race on paper. Certainly Emily Seaborn, the most experienced competitor in that race. And as we spoke about the points, that will potentially have hurt her a little bit, dropping into third place there and not picking up the 12 points, which could impact her overall standings in the cluster points.
These are all the silver medalists coming through for the first 5 events. And Susanna Jakobosch, well, she really gave it everything she possibly could in the women's 200 fly before losing to Katinka Hossau. And now the gold medalists. This is what it's all about. It's all about winning in the end, isn't it? Split times, coaching, everything. It's all about getting first and the first touch. Maddie Goff won the first event of the night. Looks pretty happy about it.
She does, and she should be. She paced the race really well. She executed her race plan really well.
Big swagger from Danis Rapsis. He looks the part, doesn't he?
He almost forgot his medal, though.
But he does look the part. He's got that arrogance about him in a good way.
He does. He looks confident. And as well, he should be. He's had a great year. As I said before, he's on an upward trend towards the Olympics next year. Obviously disappointed to be disqualified at World Championships, but the main thing a year out for Olympics is he knows he's in the position to get Olympic gold, which is what it's all about.
That could have been a motivation. Holly Barrett going through almost without a mention. She's produced the upset of the night so far.
Mitch Larkin, such a consistent racer.
And Katinka Hosu, so used to being on the winner's podium. She said she had fun out there.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. She has cut down on her racing schedule a little bit. You know, a few years ago, she was racing almost every event, and you just thought, how is she doing it? How is she managing this racing schedule? And she has, as she's getting a little bit older, she's probably, along with her coach, she has changed coach recently. You know, probably has identified that, you know, prolong her swimming career as she gets older. You have to be a little bit more sensible. She's clearly done that today by dropping one of the events, and it's worked out because she's picked up the 12 points for the 200 butterfly and the gold medal.
There is an overall championship standing for the swimmers, and big cash prize at the end of the 7th round, which takes place in Doha. The swimmers take a little bit of a break now before they resume in Budapest and Berlin for the European cluster, and then the final two in Kazan in Russia and Qatar in the middle of November end this World Cup, which is the 31st World Cup Championship that has taken place. First started 1988-89. It's streamlined itself quite significantly, and it is a vital part of the swimming calendar these days, and swimmers use it for many different purposes. Obviously the cash and winning is one, but build-up opportunities, getting yourself race fit, so many opportunities for this World Cup.
Absolutely, and it's part of the reason that you'll see some of the different swimmers competing in different legs of the World Cup, depending on how it works out with their own year-long plan. And then conversely, you have people like Katinka Hosu who does the whole circuit. If you can build that into your race schedule for the whole year and pick up some cash, then that's great. If you're using it just as a one-off competition, as a bit of race practice going into the major meet of the year, then that's fantastic too. And then I guess the final piece of the puzzle, the younger swimmers who are watching it live or on TV or getting to race against these superstars in the heats, it's fantastic for them as well.
Exactly on cue. Melanie Chong, Clarissa Liao and Singapore's Kiaga will all have opportunities to race against world-class women, particularly Vitalina Simonova is probably the quality swimmer, the world-class swimmer in this particular event coming up, the women's 200-metre breaststroke, the 7th of 10 finals that we've got on the first night of the FINA Swimming World Cup. This event at the OCBC Aquatic Centre. There are spaces available. You can get tickets online. It is worth coming to, because Singapore does have a lot of world-class events. Swimming is a regular on the calendar. Just before all these swimmers are finally introduced, it's a SEA Games year. You work fairly closely with a lot of the Singapore swimmers. What can we expect this year, SEA Games, from Singapore's swimming community?
I mean, it's obviously massive for the Singaporeans. There's a handful of countries who are quite dominant in the swimming. Obviously Indonesia are very strong as well. Malaysia, along with Singapore, they're going to be picking up the majority of the medals. In previous years, we've seen Joseph Schooling, you know, rocking it at the SEA Games. It's a real opportunity for the Southeast Asian athletes to perform in front of a local crowd. Obviously, the standard not quite as high as it would be at a World Championships. It's probably the level just below that. Perhaps almost the equivalent of a World Cup, to be honest. But you know, it's really nice because the media take note of it. It's an opportunity for these swimmers to show what they've been doing, to get a bit of I suppose to get a little bit of credit for the hard work that they put in all year round, which they do.
For those listening out of the region, the SEA Games are the regional championships taken very seriously here, as are all the regional championships, and it is the step up, and the likes of Melanie Chong, Clarissa Liao and Kiaga will look for the opportunity to race against world-class swimmers. Pao Patako as well from Thailand. She is in lane number 3, qualifying in time 2:35.32. So their qualification times are 13 seconds off the championship best time set by Tatjana Schoenmaker in Tokyo in August earlier this year, the South African. Bridget Larson from USA in lane number 4, 2:29.17. She was the quickest. What are we expecting from this particular final?
Larson and Simonova are the two favourites in this race. Larson being well, in fact, both of those girls been around for a while. They've managed to prolong their swimming careers very, very well. Larson looked very strong in the heats this morning. She's pretty gunned, as you can possibly see from the screen there. She obviously works hard in the gym. She again is a regular in the World Cup scene here in Singapore. She comes every year. She hangs out with some of the kids at the American school. Well, you'll see she has an excellent start, very explosive off the blocks.
Larson in 4, Simonova in 5. Look out for the Singaporeans, Chong and Clarissa Liao on 1 and 2. Explosive but slower start from Bridget Larson. She wasn't the quickest off the blocks, but she is in the lead as she breaks at 15 metres. And strong, long stroke from Larson. And it's a real contrast with Simonova in terms of style. An urgency from Simonova. Long, sweeping stroke from Bridget Larson in your particular expertise.
Yeah, I mean, this was my event as a swimmer, so obviously one that's quite close to my heart. I know how these girls will be feeling when it gets to that last 50, so they'll be putting, trying to minimise the energy expenditure on that first 50. Often breaststrokers are counting their strokes during the race. You can see these girls are very, very long. After this morning's heat swims and how comfortable they look, these two girls will be looking to try and pop underneath that 2:25 mark, I would have thought.
There is a contrast in style. Simonova, an urgency. Larson, long, languid strokes. And look at Pao Patako, who's holding on in 3rd place, the Thai. 2:35.32 her qualification time. But it's Simonova who leads, and it's quite a healthy lead. It's nearly a full second ahead of Larson. It's the 200-metre breaststroke. We're just beyond midway, and Simonova looks to be trying to make a break for it in this 3rd length.
She does. She looks really good. Her timing's really nice. She's kicking at the right time. It's flowing really nicely. If anything, she's pulling away from Bria Larson a little bit. And off that 100-metre split, if she holds that together, she could be looking around the 2:24 mark.
Well, she led at the end of 50. She has increased that lead significantly by the time 150 comes around, and she will turn into the final length in the lead, and the lead is a significant one, as Bridget Larson has got 1.61 seconds to make up. It's long underwater stroke from Larson though, but she hasn't been able to make up significant ground. Simonova just needs to maintain her stroke.
She does. She's actually not picking up the stroke rate as much as a lot of the swimmers do on the last 50. Often you'll see the swimmers swim with really long strokes, and then when they get to that last 50 they really pick up the rate of their strokes to try and maintain speed. She has maintained her length quite well. She's probably going to just slip slightly outside that 2:24, probably more like 2:25. Still a very strong swim at this stage of the year.
Simonova 2:25.65 takes it from Bridget Larson in 2nd place. Great swim by the Thai. Pao Patako in 3rd place. She finishes in 2:33.67. They are the 1, 2, 3, but Simonova, the Russian, really powered her way through and was able to maintain her stroke throughout the full 200 metres. Good handshake. But there is Vitalina Simonova, winner of the women's 200 breaststroke final in 2:25.65. How impressive a performance is that, or might she be a little bit disappointed come the interview?
I would have thought she'll be fairly content with the time. Turning in that 1:10, she probably would have been looking to have gone maybe a second and a half faster. So in terms of the pacing, she might be looking to pick up that 4th 50 a little bit. There didn't seem to quite be the pickup. That could just be a little bit of a lack of energy. after some pretty intense racing already over the last few weeks.
Kiago winning the Battle of Singapore. She took P5 ahead of Medley Chong and Clarissa Liao, Lucy Gordon down the end. But the winner, comfortably, Vitalina Simonova.
I'm sure she'll be very tired for this interview.
She's a little bit late out, but the smile is there and the hug. And now the words of wisdom.
Well, Vitalina, catch your breath. I mean, a big race for you. Nice to get the gold, though, right?
Yes, it's not easy. It's always to kangaroo breaststroke is so difficult distance. But it's today more to hungry free, to hungry time. It's more pain in the future.
I mean, you are such a hard worker. You have a massive program. Do you ever look at it and just think, oh, I'd rather go to bed?
I'm sorry, one more time, what to say?
Oh, no, I was making a joke. I was just saying you're such a hard worker. You do incredible stuff, you know. How do you sort of maintain this consistency and hard work across all 4 strokes?
Yes, I'm trying to broke myself. I used to try more this, so much time not to have the competition. And so I start from the start. I broke my best time. As always, it's good. I'm happy. My coach too. Thank you him.
I'm sure he'll be happy. Look, congratulations. Brilliant to see you back here getting another gold. Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible, hard-working Vitalina Simonova.
Hard-working, the appropriate adjective, I think there, Chris, because she had to work really hard. I was looking at the difference in style between the two swimmers, particularly her and the American.
Bria Larson, yeah.
Bria Larson, a very, very different style of stroke.
Yeah, Bria Larson's very much, I mean, you can tell from her physique, she's very much a power-based swimmer. Whereas, you know, Vitalina Simonova relies a little bit more on that wave action, really nice rhythm, really nice timing. Arguably more of a technician, which suits itself to the 200. And she alluded to the fact that she's got a pretty hectic program, all 200, so she's going to be pretty exhausted at the end of this weekend.
Straight on with the men's 100-meter breaststroke. No Singaporean interest here. Andrew Wilson, probably the leading light, but the Brazilian Rafael Rodriguez in lane number 2, coming in looking the coolest man alive. We've also got Felipe Franca Silva from Brazil. And Sidlauska's qualified time of 1:01.72. This men's 100-meter breaststroke. Again, something very close to your heart. What are the key tactics that we should be looking out for from the men here?
Well, it's interesting because the 100 breaststroke really has changed in terms of the dynamic over the last few years. For anyone familiar with the event, the British swimmer Adam Peaty has taken it to new heights. He's completely changed the way that people are swimming the 100 breaststroke. It's become much more of a power-based stroke, relying a little bit less on that wave action and rhythm, much more about hand speed, stroke rate, and you can see a lot of the other swimmers are trying to replicate that now. Andrew Wilson has had a fantastic year so far. Just missed out on the medals in the 200 breaststroke at the World Championships just gone. A really interesting story for any of the younger swimmers who might be looking at the American collegiate system. He wasn't the fastest of high school swimmers, but quite academic. Went to a Division III university and then just dropped a bomb. Dropped a bomb at the US Nationals one year. Something like a 3-second PB, and then moved to the University of Texas, one of the arguably the best swimming program, where Joseph Schooling, funnily enough, was training into the Olympics. So he is a former training partner of Joseph Schooling.
So he's in good company, or Schooling's in good company, one of the two. No Schooling on display at this particular championships, but do look out for Andrew Wilson at lane number 4, the American, fastest in qualifying, just outside the 1-minute mark. Martinenghi from Italy, 1:01.16, nearly a second down. That shows you the quality of Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, the Italian Martinenghi, he was a real standout junior swimmer, so up until the age of 18, really strong, whereas Andrew Wilson has really come to the forefront in his mid-20s. The two Brazilians have been around for a while as well. You could see that Silva in lane 7 obviously has a very strong start. He's an absolute bear.
Yeah, Silva will be turning in 3rd, 4th place. Idlauskas has made a run, Martinengi's made a run, but Wilson has powered his way to the front. As you say, it's all about strength and power now, and Wilson is indeed turning on the power. Lane number 4, black cap, but he is under pressure from Martinengi right beside him. But Wilson has got to keep up this consistency. Martinengi can't get close. Behind him you've got Sidlauskas in 3rd, but it's going to be Andrew Wilson who will touch first, and Wilson touches in 58.93.
That's a really fantastic swim. You know, it wasn't a million years ago where that was a world record, to be honest. Adam Peaty has taken the event to new heights, so his world record is still a reasonable amount faster, but you know, I remember in 2008, it was only 2008 when swimmers were going 58 for the first time. Go forward 11 years and now people are doing that at World Cup meet. Andrew Wilson, like I said a few years ago, dropped a 1 minute point in the 100 breaststroke, and since then he's just been chipping away at that. Had a really strong World Championships, and now he's going 58 at arguably a non-focus meet for him. Wilson
takes on the world junior champion Nicola Martinengi, and he takes it by nearly a second.
Did you know that one Lego brick can support 770 pounds of force? That's roughly the weight of a female grizzly bear. Get to know some fun and surprising facts as the National Science Challenge returns for a brand new season. Join host Sonia Chu and students from 24 schools to discover how science is all around us.
Are you guys ready? Yeah! All right, let's go!
The National Science Challenge 2019 premieres Tuesday, 20th August, 7:30 p.m. on 5. This program is brought to you by A-Star and the Science Centre Singapore. You can also watch it on Toggle at the same time.
Boss calling for overtime again? Time to get away! Save up to 30% on select hotels on mobile. And manage your reservations flexibly. The Expedia app is just that easy.
Expedia. Women's 50-metre freestyle brings us back on the FINA Swimming World Cup Singapore leg 3 of 7 of this World Cup 2019, the 31st edition of the World Cup. Singaporean interest coming from Kwa Tieng Nguyen. Looking forward to seeing her, but Janjira Sisard from Thailand is the first of the women out. You work very closely with the Singaporean swimmers, Chris Gilchrist. Ting Nguyen, where is she in her progress this year, and where is she in her progress looking to the SEA Games?
Yeah, well, I mean, interestingly, she's been dropping personal bests this year, despite the fact that for a female swimmer, she's not particularly young. She's 20. She's going to be 27 on Sunday, I think we noticed earlier. Her sister picked up the bronze medal just earlier. Like I said, she's doing personal bests at 26 years of age. Maybe didn't have the most successful World Championships, was just outside her personal best in the 50 freestyle, but she has been just nudging towards that 25-second barrier, so I'm sure she'll be looking to try and just dip under that this evening, trying to get into that 24 seconds mark.
And she may well be dragged along because there's some genuine world-class opposition. Michelle Coleman from Sweden in lane 5. Kate Campbell, you've mentioned already, the World Cup leader in lane 4. And Holly Barrett, who we've already seen tonight, has won one race against the odds. But Campbell, Coleman, Barrett and Jeanette Otterson, big opposition for Ting Nguyen.
Absolutely, this race has a little bit of everything for everyone. We've got the Singapore interest, we've got Jeanette Otterson in lane 3, who's actually just making a comeback after becoming a mother just within the last year. She's a previous world champion as well, not in this event, but in butterfly. Kate Campbell, obviously one of the fastest freestylers in history. Michelle Coleman, sprint master from Sweden, and Holly Barrett, who's already won an event tonight. So very strong field, this one.
Shara Sostrom has the world record 23.67 and the World Cup record 23.83, set in Kazan in September 2018. We might not hit those kind of times, but it will be quick, a splash and dash.
the most interesting things watching this race. The two girls in the middle gold lanes, they have a really slow stroke rate compared to most females doing a 50 freestyle, but they just maintain their length so well. Kate Campbell really steaming away from the rest of the field.
It is Kate Campbell who leads, half a body length clear of Michelle Coleman. Campbell leads, and Campbell will touch first in a time, Kate Campbell, of 24:02. Second is Michelle Coleman. Jeanette Otterson fourth, and Kwa Ting Wen has to be settled with fifth place, just outside 25 seconds.
Yeah, that's around about the time that Kwa Ting Wen's been hitting for her 50 freestyle recently. She'll still be looking to drop that in the future, but that's a great swim from Kate Campbell, 24:02. Anytime you're getting towards that 23 barrier, that's next level world class.
And as you say, a very slow comparative stroke rate for Kate Campbell. I wouldn't quite say relaxed, but she looked very much in control, Kate Campbell. She takes that by 0.63 of a second from Sweden's Michelle Coleman in second place. We will go where I think Kate is just about to be interviewed by John Mason. Might have to wait just a second, she's not out of the pool yet. Quick thoughts though, very quick thoughts though from Chris Gilchrist.
Yeah, she won that by a little bit more than I was expecting, but you know, she's leading the World Cup point standing so far, so we shouldn't really be surprised that she won that.
Well, Kate, I tell you what a time. That time would have got you gold in Guangzhou at the World Championships. You've got to be happy with it.
Yeah, thanks for rubbing that in. No, really happy with that. Would have liked to have snuck a 23, but we can't have everything in life, and really pleased to finish off what's been a tough week, or a couple of weeks of racing now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been an incredible race and you've been doing amazing times, but I've also seen you guys have been having a lot of fun together, a lot of the international swimmers. What would you say to a swimmer at home who's thinking about joining the tour?
Oh, get on board. It's the ride of your life. We've had some incredible experiences. We went tobogganing down a mountain in Jinan. We went and watched Aladdin here in Singapore. So, yeah, make sure you come along because there's heaps of fun. There's fast racing and you get to hang out with some of the best people around.
We love that. Look, congratulations. Awesome time. Awesome fun as well. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Kate Campbell.
Swimming's not meant to be fun, what's she on about? It's hard work, 5 o'clock in the pool. That's what you keep telling me, Chris.
Well, I was just about to say that's probably quite a refreshing message to give to anyone who might be thinking about taking up swimming. When you reach that elite level, there are some pretty nice perks as well when you get to travel the world.
But they do work hard. Very much looking forward to seeing the Russian Vladimir Morozov, a two-time World Cup champion. He is obviously the man who's been making most of the waves in terms of press in this part of the world. But he won't find things going all his own way here in this men's 50 metres freestyle. Again, it's a splash and dash. But Morozov is the current World Cup holder. 21:49 his record that was set in Kazan at the tail end of last year.
Yeah, we have two swimmers in particular in this race who are firm favourites of the World Cup circuit. We have Vlad Morozov, who's been doing it for a while, and the relatively new kid on the block, Michael Andrew. He's been around for a couple of years now, but both of those guys love racing.
7-year age gap between Mike Andrew, so very much a new kid on the block. Jabo we saw pipped at the post earlier on today, so does it play into the minds of swimmers that you want to put a wrong right if you've lost one race earlier on in the night?
Possibly, but he might be taking some confidence from the fact that the first 50 of his 100 butterfly was really fast, so he clearly knows he's carrying a bit of speed.
Here is Mike Andrew, as you say, looking very confident. But Morozov from Russia, 22:14 his qualification time.
Those two guys will certainly be looking to try to break into that 21-second barrier. Anytime a sprint freestyler on the male side gets into 21-second mark, especially if it's not a World Championships or an Olympics, they're very happy. So that will be their target for here.
Mike Andrews set the World Junior best at 21:75 in August 2017. So we know he's capable of dipping under 22.
Two very different body shapes between the guys in lanes 4 and 5. Something nice for upcoming swimmers to see as well, that there's a little bit of a perhaps misconception at times that you have to be a very specific shape to be an elite swimmer. You can see from the swimmers in lane 4 and 5, there's a big difference there.
Chunky and lean and long.
Lean and long and, yeah, fairly small and explosive.
50-meter dash. Reaction time so important. We're looking at Mike Andrew lane 5, Morozov in lane 4. Morozov it is who's got off to the explosive start that you were suggesting. Morozov leads by half a body length. Morozov ahead of Mike Andrew in lane 3, Condorelli. But Morozov from start to finish, that is explosive from Vladimir Morozov.
Wow, that's really fast. That's really fast.
21:27, a new World Cup record set here in Singapore.
Well, I have to say, when I saw how far ahead he was at the 25-meter mark, I think most people in the building knew we were in for something special. It'll be interesting to hear what he says in his interview, because he wasn't on particularly good form at the World Championships, but he's really got his act together for this World Cup meet.
Great leverage to get into the swim, and as you say, he's half a body length clear at 25 meters. Touches first, and the power wins over the lean and long. Morozov, World Cup record 21:27, 21:78 for Mike Andrew, just 0.03 outside his own personal best. Condorelli dragged along into third place, Jarbo fourth. 4-5 racers there under 23 seconds.
Yeah, very strong event.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a way to finish the night. Vlad's smashing it. Another World Cup record. How was that for you?
Feels amazing. Finally hit a best time in the last 60 years, I think. So I feel really good.
And I mean, was that the plan? I mean, you always want to go out as hard as you can, but was it expected, I think is what I'm trying to say.
I definitely did not expect that. Not at all, no.
And I mean, you're currently our overall leader at the end of Cluster 1. Obviously, still a long way to go in the World Cup Series. Is strategy going to be playing any parts in your program moving forward?
Strategy is the same, to go fast every race.
And you always do it, mate. Look, congratulations. He's killing it, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Vladimir Morozov.
Take one. Cheesy 7 pizza has cheeses like Gouda. 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 Cheeses like Gouda. Cheddar. Parmesan.
Hard to pronounce, simple to enjoy. Pizza Hut Cheesy 7. Your slice is simple.
Wish granted, Singapore. Tickets to Disney's Aladdin are now $72 for 72 hours. This magical offer ends on Sunday, 18th August at 12 noon. Don't miss the most spectacular musical ever seen in Singapore. Now playing at Sands Theatre, Marina Bay Sands till the 1st of September.
Hi, can I order please?
You have to order from the kiosk.
Ever encountered this? Self-service technology is everywhere these days. It's sure helping businesses.
We've seen an increase of 20% revenue.
But are they benefiting us, the customers?
Yeah!
We pit man against machine to find out if you're being served. Talking Point, tonight, 9:30 p.m. on 5.
You know, he said in his interview that he was happy with that, but if he'd done that a month ago at World Championships, he'd have been sitting right there on the podium. So there's probably an element of him that's looking at how am I going to do that time next year at the Olympics. It's fantastic for us that he does it here, but how does he do it next year?
We're just seeing the highlights of the 10 finals that we've had tonight. There is plenty of space for those who want to come and watch the event. This is world-class swimming with a World Cup record. We're just waiting for the parade of champions, the final 5 races, and how we're going to see as the drummers get us going on night number 1 of these finals. We are in the pool once again tomorrow, where there are qualifying heats for the 10 finals that take place tomorrow, and the event finishes on Saturday. But for you, Chris, your work just isn't in the commentary box. You've been working with a lot of the Singaporean swimmers in the heats to try to get maybe one or two athletes into the finals to race against world-class talent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working specifically with some of the club level swimmers. So from the start list, you can see that there are some swimmers, the top 40 swimmers in Singapore represent Singapore. After that, they represent their own clubs, and it's one of the greatest things about the World Cup circuit being in Singapore, and I'm sure it's the same in the other countries that host a World Cup meet, is that the local swimmers get to race against the best swimmers in the world. And for the swimmers that I coach on a day-to-day basis, it's an opportunity that they might never have again. And certainly they're lucky that, you know, a lot of swimmers around the world don't get that opportunity.
Can it be a disadvantage, though, to actually realise how far have I got to go to reach that level? Or is it an impetus that says, hey, I'm now good enough to swim in the same pool as these girls or boys?
It's a fair point. Perhaps the argument might be, if you have a swimmer who focuses on the negatives, they're maybe less likely to achieve in the long run. Whereas that swimmer who says, I'm motivated by that, I'm inspired by that, I want to achieve that in the future, they're arguably the swimmers who are going to be most likely to reach that level in the future.
We've seen plenty of top-class swimming taking place tonight. We have got a new World Cup record. We've seen championship leaders in the World Cup have set the pool alight, if you can set pools alight. Kids are enjoying it. And as we heard, it's not all about 5 a.m. starts and lap after lap after lap of the pool. There is a fun time for the international athletes as well, but they've been on the road a long time. There was the World Championships in Korea, then they went to Tokyo before moving to Jinan, and then now here in Singapore. The guys and girls will get a little bit of time off over the next couple of weeks, but it won't all be rest.
It won't all be rest, and like we said earlier, there'll be a mixture of different things going on. There'll be some people who will be taking a few weeks rest now, maybe train a little bit back into the next cluster and do that a little bit, maybe detrained. There'll be some people who are just starting their preparations for the Olympics and maybe have had a little bit of time off already. There's a real combination of things going on. It's what makes the timing of it difficult and interesting and exciting, and you don't know what you're going to get and you don't know who's going to win, and it's part of what makes sport exciting, isn't it?
Absolutely. The taking part and the fandom, and it is all about the fans. Been plenty of kids here and one or two senior citizens as well. That young fella should know better. Just waiting for the parade of champions for the final 5 races that took place. The heat start again, 9:30 tomorrow morning?
That's correct. Warm up 7:45, start 9:30. So these guys who are on the podium now, what's it, just coming up 8 o'clock? They might have a drugs test, random drugs test. They've still got to do their swim down. Chances are they're not going to get back to the hotel until 9 o'clock, have their dinner, in bed at 11, probably up at 6. It's pretty tiring. Only lasts a few days, but like you said, they're doing that for potentially 6 weeks on the trot, living out of a suitcase, not seeing their friends and family back home, some of them pets. It's great, but it's challenging. There's no doubt about that.
It's the first time I've heard pets introduced into a commentary about athletes, but it's a very good point, home, that they are living in a suitcase, and glamorous though it is, and glamorous though it sounds, and the rewards are very good, they're people, after all.
They are. And I'm sure some of them resent paying rent for 6 weeks when they're not there, but that's the reality, is they probably spend more time away from home than they do at home. Some of these, especially the ones who race regularly, like your Vlad Morozov, your Katinka Hosu, a few of the Australians who, like Mitch Larkin and Kate Campbell, who do these circuits. Obviously we've got a few more racing circuits on the horizon, not just the World Cup that a lot of the top swimmers are taking part in as well. So the amount of racing that these guys are doing is only going to increase over the next few years.
Getting ready for the parade of champions. This is a relatively new innovation where they introduced the 3 bronze medalists, 3 silver medalists, 5 bronze, 5 silver, 5 gold medalists. As you say, the podium is great, but broadcasters used to complain it took too long. It's all about TV. It's all about making it sexy for the audience.
It is, and even as a fellow athlete sitting in the stands, rather selfishly, when you're waiting for a race or waiting to get a bus back to the hotel, obviously you want to celebrate the achievements, because it's very important to do that when these athletes have put everything into these performances. But if we can do that in a manner which still gives them the appreciation that they deserve, but gets things moving quite quickly and is a bit more viewer friendly, I think that works in everyone's favour.
Absolutely. And there was a bit of a scowl there from Giles Smith as he went through. Clearly wasn't too thrilled to be picking up a bronze medal. But this is the guy who's just finished in that World Cup, Kondarelli, that World Cup record time from Morozov. There, the bronze medalist Giles Smith, Sidlauskis, Kondarelli, Papadako, who looked very happy with her third.
Representing Hungary, Sebastian
Szabo, who lost his race by 0.02 of a second. That was the closest race that we had all night. Martinengi goes through. Michelle Coleman, silver medalist in the women's 50 freestyle. Mike Andrew, who was just 0.03 of a second out of his own personal best and was still well beaten.
Yeah, he has actually been a little faster than that. That's his record from when he was a little bit younger. So he is more like the 21.3, 21.4 mark. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, he's a truly world-class swimmer. He just missed out on an individual medal at World Championships, but he is one of the best swimmers in the world. To get beaten by half a second in 50 freestyle shows how good Vlad Morozov's 50 freestyle was.
This was the most dramatic winner of the night, Irvin, beating Szabo by 0.02 of a second with a last 10-meter surge.
I liked Simonova's interview, showing how hard the 200 breaststroke is. I agree with her on that one. I like that one.
Andrew Wilson, explosive, but we're going to save the most explosive till the very last. Kate Campbell will cement her position at the top with her victory today. But this is the start of the first night. A new World Cup record. Vladimir Morozov.
Yeah, that was a really excellent swim from Vlad, as we've obviously spoken about. Kate Campbell's as well, getting so close to that 24-second barrier, especially at the end of a long travel and racing period. She had a fairly successful World Championship. She's one of the best relay swimmers you can imagine. Just got picked out in the individual 100 freestyle. But I mean, she has raced very well for a solid 4 or 5 weeks now. So to finish that first kind of that first cluster with a 24.0 is incredibly strong as well, and a real crowd favourite at the Singapore World Cup as well.
Well, thanks to Chris Gilchrist for his analysis and split time knowledge for work today. Chris will be with us for the rest of this World Cup event as the victors and the medalists chasse their way into the night. But they better hadn't celebrate too much. There's a lot of work still to do over the next 2 days of this World Cup event here in Singapore. There are qualification and heat starting at 9:30 tomorrow for another series of finals here at the OCBC Aquatic Centre. And it's the two Russians who are taking centre stage, Simonova and Morozov.
And as we spoke about earlier, we can see the athletes throwing some of their souvenirs to the young and up-and-coming swimmers, which is what we spoke about, one of the great things about having the World Cup local.
As the FINA Swimming World Cup stage empties, we're going to say goodnight for tonight. Join us again tomorrow, the first of our finals, 6:30 live.